If I get too long, point your finger and tell me to shut up or something. I can talk all night. I really can. Are we ready?
Yes. Go ahead.
My name is Jep Williamson. I was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, what else did you want? Beginning with
What was your position on the plane?
my position on the plane was the top turret. They call us engineer gunners.
And were you drafted or enlisted or?
Oh, well, I was drafted on June the 28th, I believe, of 1943. I tried to enlist a couple of times, but they didn't want to do what I wanted them to do, so I said, well, I'll just wait. So I did, and I knew I was going to get drafted because I was single and footloose and fancy free. But I was waiting on it and expecting to go and knew I would. And we left Memphis and went to Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. We enlisted. They gave us a physical, swore us in the next day, and sent us home for 2 weeks. We got our affairs in order and went right back to Fort Oglethorpe. From there, we took some tests and determined which way you were going, radio, mechanic, or whatever. Well, I already had 9 months of aircraft engine training prior to this. In fact, I was in training when the war began. And that's what I always wanted to do. I tried to enlist as a young man. My mother said, no, well, Mama knows best, so I didn't do it. After Fort Oglethorpe, they sent me to Keesler Field, Mississippi, and I took basic training there. Really hot. New York, Pennsylvania, and Virginia boys hated it. It was hot, humid. Then I took aircraft mechanics there. I think they called it A&M, and I think it took 19 weeks. I'm not sure. But we learned about engines and aircraft maintenance in general. Then I had pretty good grades, and they wanted me to be an officer and go to Chanute Field. I said, no, I want to kill Germans. So I was going to gunnery school. Well, they sent me to Boeing factory from Biloxi, Mississippi to Seattle, Washington. I'd never seen anything further than Forest City, Arkansas that looked like a mountain, and I was enthralled with the mountain. I wrote a diary as I went out. I reread it, and all I'm writing about is mountain. It was a wonderful trip. It was early in the war. I got to wear my Class A uniform, slept in a Pullman, ate in the diner, saw the country. And this is a kid that had never been anywhere. It was a wonderful experience. I'll never forget it. And in fact, I read a little diary every once in a while. So, but it was a great experience. Saw things I never dreamed of. Got to Seattle. We got there, and there were guards on all the bridges. There weren't any lights on. The engines themselves were blacked out except for one little spot, the headlight. When you went in town, everything was blacked out. The cars had one little bitty hole for the headlights. They were pretty much ready for what might happen. What was I going to tell you? Anyway, we went to school there. That was about 4 or 5 weeks at the Boeing plant. And the men previous to the ones we went through, when we went through, got to go through the factory. When we got there, they wouldn't let us go through the factory simply because it disturbed the production. The women stopped working. Mostly women in the factory. They said, we can't do this anymore because they stopped working. You know, when I see all these soldiers. And this is a fact. And so we didn't get to go through the factory to see anything like that. But in the afternoon, we had our barracks were right outside the factory. And women workers would come by and hand all their phone numbers and their addresses over the fence by the dozens. I learned quite a bit at Boeing. They were very good to us. We had one particular guy that I wasn't fond of. He was the physical training exercise, and he wore us out. But other than that, I had a pretty good time. The sun shone one time in over a month, and that was on Christmas Day. And I went and signed up to go to somebody's home to eat a Christmas meal. Met two good-looking girls and a very nice family. Wrote to them for probably 2 or 3 years, and it was another good experience. And all the war and all the things connected with it, there's a lot of good things that came out of it.
After your training at Boeing, what was the next part of your journey? After training at Boeing?
Boeing, okay, I left Boeing and
what
went
happened after that?
straight to Las Vegas. Stayed there for a little over 4 weeks. They didn't have any heat there. There's something that happened to the heaters. So we wore our overcoats at night, and we wore them in the daytime. By noontime, you were taking them off, and everything else you had, you could get off because it got that hot. We had gunnery training there, and they trained us on the ground, shotguns, and those city boys had some black eyes from doing that, and the old country boys were knocking those targets off like crazy. But we had a good time there, and then we got to fly some. The first was in AT-6, which was it was an advanced trainer, AT-6, Texan, and they'd take you up and you should sit in the rear seat, sitting sideways with your gun over the side. When you were through, you're supposed to do this, and he would take you. He wouldn't take you away from target. He'd take you up like this and drop you and try to make you throw up. And he did pretty good. Got to fly in a B-17. Another story, I was the first man down in the 17. That's the first time I'd ever been in a B-17. Ball tray rolls down, open the door, and I'm looking down straight. You look right straight down at the ground through the window. Take a deep breath, get in. I got in, everything was fine. Here comes a B-26 with a tow target. Old Jep leads the target. I led the target, shot the cable in two. Got back up, and the sergeant wanted to kill me because we all had to go back and start over again. That's another funny story. But okay, after that deal, we went to Salt Lake City to be shipped somewhere else. That was kind of a redistribution center. And we went from there to Boise, Idaho, got on a crew, and the crew was scattered from all over the USA. We went through phase training, which is 3 phases on B-17s, and we enjoyed it, had a good time, had bombing runs and target practice. Then after we got through the 3 phases, the pilot and the navigator were extremely good. Because of those two, they made us a model crew, which meant that this model crew would go back and be the lead crew of the next bunch and then keep on going. So when we got back to that was in Casper, Wyoming, when we finished the phase training, sent us back to Boise, Idaho. When we got there, there were B-24s there. So they took the pilot and navigator off, sent them to Florida, and the co-pilot became the pilot. We got us a new co-pilot and a new navigator, and so we started through again. And about that time, we had about maybe the 2nd phase, and I had a hernia. Well, I didn't know what to do. I asked the crew. I said, my daddy's been wearing a truss all his life. All my relatives have had. Anyway, they said, well, you better see the doctor and see what he says. So immediately he took me off the crew. So I went to the hospital on June the 5th in Casper, Wyoming, and it was snowing. Walked to the hospital, June the 5th, it was snowing. And they operated and everything turned out well. And they kept me off of duty for about 3 or 4 months. And then I got on, let's see, from there, I decided, well, my crew's going, I'll try cadets. I passed everything for cadets. So they sent me to Wichita Falls, Texas. Stayed there for probably 2 months. A bunch of us that had already been on training and on cruise. For some reason, they got off too. And we went through basic training. Finally, they said, we've got too many men from overseas that want to be pilots, and you guys come second, so we're sending you back. So I was sent to Dyersburg, Tennessee, got on another crew. We trained for, I think, 2 months there before we were ready to go. Went to redistribution center again, got all our new equipment to go overseas. That was up in Lincoln, Nebraska. They sent us from there to Virginia. What's the place? Hampton Roads, Virginia. We stayed there for maybe a week, and then they put us on a ship. We ran up and down the harbor about 2 days, and then we all got in a convoy. We left on Friday the 13th, raining like crazy. And I'm not sure I like this. But anyway, we went, we finally got overseas just about the last day of the month of September,